Greeting kind souls. My name is Bree, and this is a video on how I've lost over 100 pounds on a plant-based diet. Okay, today is December 3rd, 2017. It is a Sunday. To start, I've been plant-based for about 6 years now. Kind of shocking to myself actually, but yeah, I've been plant-based for over 6 years, and I've learned a lot along the way, and I think I still have a lot more to learn, but I think I'm at a point now where I'm ready to share some of my story and some of my journey in hopes to inspire some of you all to get healthier, to take back your health, and to get in control of anything that you've been wanting to get in control of, your weight, your emotions, anything. So before I went plant-based, I was a heavy meat eater. I really liked cheese. Cheese was one of my favorite things, especially mac and cheese. I ate that all the time. Y'all know, fried chicken, that was something I preferred to eat a lot. I didn't really eat beef or pork like that, but I did eat a lot of chicken. I did eat a lot of turkey, things of that nature, eggs, stuff like that. I wasn't really into fish, so I didn't eat fish like that. But I was definitely a big, very much not vegan and very much not plant-based, not even vegetarian. When I was in college, I had two vegetarian friends who often tried to convince me to go vegetarian, and would often ask one of the reasons, like why I didn't want to be vegetarian for health reasons, whatever reasons. And I distinctly remember in that conversation telling them that I could never be vegetarian, I could never be vegan, that I thought that vegans, didn't get to eat things that they want to eat, and that they were honestly a little sad because they didn't get to enjoy their foods. And little did I know, I had no experience of the world of plant-based. So that is just something that I really am glad I changed. And to sit here now and say that I've been plant-based for 6 years and realizing that I was that person that was very anti-health foods. No. Brussels sprouts was that. Wasn't eating none of that. At the family cookout, you was eating whatever everybody else was eating. The fried chicken, you had the, mac and cheese, you had the southern food, you had the hot dogs, the burgers, anything heavy, the rack of ribs. I didn't like the rack of ribs, but people was eating that. Some people in my family like chitlins. If y'all like that, that's y'all thing, My family was, they were very big foodies, and they still are very big foodies, and food is a thing that we bond over. But I had a lot of health issues, and a lot of people in my family had a lot of health issues, and still do, because of what we were eating. Some of those health issues where I had, acne, I had asthma, I was overweight, as you can see, terribly overweight. I had a lot of skin issues. I actually had a skin disease that my doctors at the time couldn't really tell me what it was, and I went to several different doctors. I went to dermatologists, and the disease would cause boil-like bumps on my skin. They wouldn't, they would say, oh, it's this thing, oh no, it's this thing, and they would put me on this antibiotic or that antibiotic and tell me I have to do this. And some people, there were some doctors that would say it was my weight. I had unexplainable back issues, I had knee problems, and I was actually a sort of active kid. I didn't do a lot of sports, but I was a cheerleader for a little while. I did dance, I did gymnastics and things like that, so I was sort of active. Stream of health issues that I had with when I was still a meat eater was my fertility. And for my women out there, you know that fertility issues are sometimes a thing. My womb care was not where it should have been at all. My libido was definitely tanked. It was not very high at all. And I was actually taking birth control. Y'all, let me just say this. before I went plant-based, one of the things I did do was stop taking birth control. And I stopped taking it because I didn't feel good when I was on it. You know, there were some times where you take a pill and you get that little sick medicine taste in the back of your mouth when you taste the pill, and you're just like, you get nauseous and you just realize you don't really want to be taking that. I was having that a lot, and I would push past it because, I'm supposed to be taking this thing. I don't want to have kids. At the time I was not really sexually active like that anyway, but I was just taking it to regulate my periods because I was having irregular ones. I took the birth control to help regulate my periods, and I was getting them on the regular, but they would still be really heavy, and there's a whole thing. Long story short, when I stopped taking the birth control, my hair started falling out. And not just little strands here and there, but no, like little patches of hair were falling out, and I didn't know why, what was going on. My hair was thinning, and it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel natural, and I realized that part of my body's reaction to tell me that I was doing something that I shouldn't have been doing, taking that birth control, was the nauseous feeling, the sick feeling, the medicine-like taste in the back of my mouth when I would take it, the excessive bloating, the fact that when I would have my cycles, it wouldn't be super painless. It wouldn't be light. It wasn't how it should have been. So my hair started falling out in giant patches, and I was like, okay, something's not right. So long story short with that, I ended up having to shave my head. So that was just another thing I ended up having to do when I started on this journey, I guess. So being plant-based has definitely changed my life in a lot of ways. The next step I did before I went fully plant-based was I went vegetarian. When I went vegetarian, my partner at the time went pescatarian. And I was supposed to go pescatarian with them, but as I said at the beginning, I wasn't a fan of fish. So vegetarian was the natural choice for me. Okay, so we're back. Something bit me and I had to change locations because that wasn't right. But I'm gonna just go ahead and keep talking about how and why I switched to being vegetarian. Long story short, like I said, my partner went pescatarian. I wasn't a fan of fish, so I was gonna go vegetarian. And I just wanted a change of pace. I wanted to lose weight. I had pretty much reached the plateau point. I've reached the plateau point of my weight loss that I could get to when I was still eating meat because I wasn't consistent with going to working out at the gym and things like that. Those are just things I didn't want to do very often. So I still was feeling that, and I was cutting out things, cutting out sugar, I was eating less meat, things just weren't happening. And then, other life issues came into picture, so being vegetarian just made sense. So when I was vegetarian, I was still allowing myself to eat cheese and to eat eggs and things like that. And I will say after getting off of my birth control and switching to vegetarian, I lost a lot of weight. I started seeing my weight just shed. The pounds just started melting off. And I was like, this is good. I like this. And I wasn't working out. I was just not eating meat anymore. And I was like, okay, this is all right. I like this. And I was perfectly fine just eating my cheese. Now I still noticed that when I would have cheese and eggs and things of that nature, that I would still be bloated sometimes. My stomach would still hurt. I would still have some sort of issues with that. I don't know. I still felt slowed down sometimes. Like after you eat, my black people would be like, you get the itis. I grew up getting the itis, y'all, and sometimes the itis ain't always the best thing for you. I know that's blasphemous, but I'm gonna be honest. sometimes the itis is a sign that you ate something really heavy. And I still felt like when I was eating cheese that I was just really heavy and slowed down, bogged down sometimes, I was still just couldn't think clearly, I still wasn't doing, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. So for 2017, I was becoming more aware, more conscious. Some people would call it, part of the woke tribe or whatnot, but I don't really think of it like that. I think of it as more, like I said, just being more aware, more conscious, more connected to nature, more connected to the spirituality of the planet, with Mother Earth, and connecting to the source within myself and the source that's within everything else around me, everything that created all of this. I was getting really drawn into that world. And then in 2017, they put the movie Okja out. Now, if you know me, I've always been a animal lover. I love animals. And I know before some vegans would be like, oh, how can you call yourself an animal lover if you're still eating animals, or yada yada. But I did love animals. I didn't see myself hurting them. And I know some vegans, some people who are vegan or plant-based sometimes forget that they were also there too. You also, before you were plant-based, unless you were plant-based before birth, your family was or whatnot. But most of us who transitioned into the plant-based lifestyle used to eat meat and things like that before. So you should be a bit more humble, a bit more kind about it. It's not a easy step because it takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of devotion. You really need to know why you want to do it, and hold that true when you're in positions where you're the only plant-based person around. Like I said, I started becoming aware, and then they put the movie Okja out. And when I watched Okja, it was just a little movie. It was cute. It was nice. About this little girl, and I wouldn't call it a pig. It was more like a little. It was a board. It was just this creature thing that she grew up raising, and it was her pet. And due to society's wants and desires, there was a company that was pretty much breeding and buying all of these specific animals and making meat products out of it. I'm not going to go too far into the story because if you want to watch it, I think it's a good watch. But it'll get to the morals of it. There is a scene in the movie where you get to really see the humanity in the animal and really see the creature for what it is, and really see how us as a society, this is just what we're doing to these animals. We're, pretty much, I decided right then and there after Okja that I was no longer going to eat meat or dairy or eggs, and at that point I was going to go 100% vegan, and that was in December of 2017. And just like that, I was vegan. I didn't know what I was doing. My partner went along with me, didn't know anything about it, didn't look up anything, didn't know how to do this properly, didn't, just straight up stopped. Literally just went to the grocery store, and whenever the stuff that I usually would buy, I just didn't buy. I bought all the things that I usually would not buy, like fresh vegetables, tofu. I actually did like tofu because I was really into Asian cuisine. Sidebar, still am. But, I went, it was like, this is what I'm going to do now. We're just not doing it. We got rid of all of the cheese and everything in the house, and I was like, I didn't feel healthy on the stuff either, and I just threw it all away. Just got rid of it. Just cleared out our fridge, and then, but I had just moved to the city, and funds were a little tight when we made this decision. It was my first time living on my own, so there was a lot of transitioning happen into becoming an adult and moving, and just having to take care of myself. And then on top of that, I made this decision to do a whole lifestyle change that I had no information on, just knew nothing about. But I was committed and I was going to do it, and I did. And apparently it's been committed for 6 years. But like I said, I didn't have any knowledge about this diet or being plant-based before deciding. I just jumped the gun, ripped off the band-aid, was like, just get rid of everything. I'm not doing this anymore. I connect to those animals so much. My heart, no, I just couldn't do it. My kitchen slowly went from, not even slowly, quickly went from having things like snacks and chips and cookies and, you know, candy even. I stopped buying all of it. I just didn't want to be unhealthy anymore. You know, what we put into our bodies matters more than we think it does. And I really just started to become aware of what I was putting into my body all of the time, and as to why I would have brain fogs, why I wouldn't be able to, you know, get up and go exercise and do all of the things that I wanted to do. So after making that decision, within like the first week or two, my body just started purging. It just started purging. I don't know what happened. To that day, I still had not started exercising. I didn't go out, or even to this day, I still don't exercise consistently. Or, I did for 1 year, but we'll get to that. But I wasn't exercising consistently. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't walking or anything like that. I just literally wasn't eating cheese anymore. I stopped drinking milk. I switched to the plant milks and stuff that I could find at the time. When I went plant-based at that time, you guys got to realize it was around 2017. The access to plant-based foods that we have now wasn't even a thing just 6 years ago. You know, there was still only so many things that you can find in the grocery store that were vegan or plant-based or accidentally plant-based or vegan. But if you weren't trying to eat processed or anything like that, you mainly were eating produce, vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, grains, things of those nature. Now, because I didn't know anything about being plant-based before going plant-based, I just kind of jumped in. I, financially wasn't prepared for what it would cost to be plant-based and the things like that. So I found a produce giveaway in my city that was giving away free produce, and there was a lot of vegetables and things like that. And that they give out, they rescue food, food that people would usually just throw away because it's getting ready to go bad, or it's metastate, or produce that didn't look right, so it didn't meet the cut. So they were doing that for people in the city, who were dealing with hardships, or just anyone who needed free food at the time. So I ended up visiting them a lot and getting a lot of my produce from them. So my kitchen went from looking like that to looking like this. Here's some but I was eating a lot of produce, just a lot of produce, and that's just mainly what we were eating because that's all we had. And we were making things like pastas and just things we had access to, just without meat, without cheese, without any of the animal products. So my body just started purging, and like I said, I wasn't exercising. It was just off of what I was eating. It was just coming off. The pounds were just melting off. When I went vegetarian, I had only lost about maybe 50 pounds. I was sitting around from like 280 to like 250. I lost like 30, and it would waver a little bit based on if I was eating a lot, if I was still eating, I was big sugar fiend, still kind of am a big sugar fiend, but working on that. If I was eating a lot of sugar, if I was, I would still gain weight. So sometimes, that number would increase, and I wasn't exercising. So, I was really trapped and confused as to why I wasn't losing weight and I wasn't meeting my health goals, and I still felt bad and things like that. So fast forward back to switching and just going straight plant-based. It was a complete change. Just the same as when I took off, I stopped taking my birth control. My body just started shedding. It just started getting rid of all of the things that I didn't need, I guess, all of the weight I didn't need. I stopped having issues with with a lot of my health issues. Like I stopped having asthma attacks. I was able to run and walk and things like that. And when I started to notice myself losing the weight, I was also noticing that I could do more things that I wasn't able to do before. And because I was plus size for majority of my teenage, childhood, and adult life up until this point. And I'm 30 years old right now. So for up until that, even through college, and I switched when I was in college, mostly through college, I was pretty hefty, and I remember a lot of things that I couldn't do, even after being somewhat active when I was a kid, bending over and touching your toes. That's something that I think is overrated for some, but underrated for a lot. It's just things that you don't realize that you appreciate until you're able to. Okay, so fast forward to about 2019. This is 2 years. I'm 2 years into my plant-based journey, and I've been just learning a lot, rediscovering food, rediscovering myself a lot, and just new things to appreciate about life, about the world, about food, even discovering my reasons as to why I wanted to be plant-based and why I'm staying plant-based is for all of the reasons above. People will ask me, is it for the animals, is it for this, is it for health? It's for all of the reasons above. I want to be healthier, I don't want to harm animals if I don't have to, especially if there's just other ways for me to eat healthier. Sustainability, I think that it is much healthier being on a plant-based diet because I literally have evidence. I am evidence to myself that it works. I lost weight. I don't have any health issues that I have had. I'm not depressed anymore. I'm not feeling as bad and as heavy as I was prior to switching to this diet. And there's still a lot of things that I am learning and wanting to learn and needing to learn. And you see, my skin isn't 100% where I want it to be. There are still things that I want to change. Since this new vegan plant-based boom, there's been a lot of vegan meats and these substitutes and all this stuff coming out that still incorporate things like cane sugar, and they're just not as healthy as we would want them to be, that I still fall, prey to, and I still eat and things like that, but I want to eventually cut out. So there's still growth that can happen within a plant-based diet where I want to eat whole foods and I want to eat more healthy and be able to go on triathlons and things like that. And that is the biggest thing I've noticed with switching to being plant-based. It's like a lot of things that I said I would never do or I didn't want to do when I was eating meat and I wasn't plant-based, I actually want to do now. Like I started learning tennis and I really enjoy it. And I've been able to run and I started really enjoying running. And I'm saying fast forward to 2019, that was the year that I actually did start exercising and I did work out, because that was the year I took a trip to Mexico, my first time leaving the country, and I reached a point in my life where I was just looking for a change of perspective, a change of my mind. I just wanted to connect to something outside of the Western world, something outside of myself, something outside of it. And when I went there, my eyes were opened. It recently, like I said, it was 2019, so vegan still was not as big as it is right now, and we were still able to find a lot of little vegan shops to go to. We didn't go as, like a traditional tourist. We went and really ingrained ourselves into the culture. It's like we lived in Mexico for a week or however long we were there, and we were connecting with the people and really eating like local and really just seeing what was around, and it really changed my perspective when I was there. But that year before going to Mexico, I actually worked out consistently for a few months, and working out consistently was just consisted of going to Planet Fitness and running on the treadmill for about an hour and doing some light lifting weights. And the result of that ended up being this photo right there. And as you can see in that photo, I realized looking back on that photo that I was happier than I had been I think that was the time that I had really realized, like, I was seeking that perspective change. I really got that perspective change. I really got that perspective change. And I could see it there. Even now, when I look back at those photos, I can see that even though I'm different, I'm not the person that I was before. I'm not sad. I'm not depressed. I'm not overweight. I'm not eating emotionally overeating. I'm in more control of myself. I have more control of what I put into my body. I'm more responsible with just myself. I hold myself more accountable for things, and I don't let what other people think or see really affect how I walk in this world and how my journey is going. I've become more aware, and I think my wisdom has grown, more than it was back then. And I'm really appreciative of being plant-based for opening all of these doors, being cooking. I have really discovered the joy of cooking since being plant-based. The joy of cooking. Recently, in the last year or two, I've discovered the joy of, growing my own food and how it really makes you feel when you grow your own food. But that is just one of the reasons why I stand by this lifestyle so much, is because there are just so many things that we are aware of but not really aware of until you have to be aware of it. When you switch to a plant-based lifestyle, you have to become aware of what's going into your food. You have to start reading the ingredients on packages. You have to start, knowing where your food came from. You have to start paying attention to those things. And there's just so many things that you will find that will inspire you when you're on a plant-based, when you're living like this. It's like, so far I've just been more inspired to just get healthier and to do more than I perceived myself doing when I wasn't. I want to learn more about herbs. I want to learn more about how plants really integrate with us, how we are really, as humans, are a part of this ecosystem, and how we connect truly to this planet and truly to the animals around us and truly to the other people around us. There's just so many ways that I think we can grow from that. Let's fast forward a bit. I told you about Mexico, working out for that year. When I showed you the video, that's how I looked in Mexico. Since Mexico, I did start getting back into, that's like when the vegan boom started happening. So I did start eating a lot of the processed vegan foods that were coming out, and I gained weight back, and I've since then have been in a yo-yo of weight going up and down. Since I still have not consistently added working out consistently and going out every day to my daily routines, but that's something I'm working on. And that's all you can keep doing, is just keep working on yourself, growing, helping and learning. I don't know, it's shocking to me to sit here and hear myself talking, see myself in this camera making this video, because it's just something I know that me before wouldn't have had the confidence to do, or to just, and I'm still trying to figure out even why I'm making this video. But I think it's just because I want more people to be healthy, and I want to share this joy, and honestly I want people like my family members, to see people that are hurting and suffering from whatever issues, health issues, whatever they're going through, to know that there is a way out. And part of that is through our food, part of that is through exercise, part of that is through working on yourself. Part of that is through working on yourself and developing discipline, developing self-confidence, developing courage, developing just all of these things that's needed to walk with more power in life, to walk this type of journey, to walk this type of staying connected to everything journey when everyone else is distracted. We're living in a world full of distractions right now, and it's just easier to fall into the game and to fall into the flow of everyone else than to walk another path and to live, in the light whatever have you. But let's talk about what's going on now. So now I have been, like I said, vegan for 6 years, and it is currently 2023. I still do eat some processed vegan food. I still find myself going for the vegan shepherd's pie or the vegan pizza, things like that I see in the store. But I've recently found myself calling in and feeling pulled and drawn to eating healthier and eating more whole foods, plant-based, because it just feels better. I just noticed that my body feels better on those foods, and I'm curious as to what other health benefits I can gain. I think I've reached a point where my health is kind of plateaued in terms of I'm healthy enough, but I still am not optimum health, and I want to optimize my health. I want to extend my life. I want to live long enough to be able to give back to the world, to give back to my family, to build a lot of things. I want to have clearer skin. I want to find out more about how to heal fully from inside out. I want to heal my womb and take better care of my womb. So there's so much more that I have to learn. So I've been really, really drawn to wanting to eat healthier and eat more lean and eat more clean versus eating processed and picking up the packaged items in the store because they're just easier. And also, they're also more expensive. They are way more expensive, and they're part of the reason why a lot of people believe that eating plant-based or vegan is, super expensive or difficult. It only is when you're spending most of your money on buying the excess things, the vegan chicken pot pies, or the vegan drumsticks, the vegan, all of these things that say vegan in the store. Yeah, they're vegan and they're plant-based, but they don't optimize health items because they're still going into the store. So they're still putting things, sometimes chemicals in them, sometimes a lot of cane sugar. So it goes into things like cane sugar are not as healthy for us. There's been countless studies out there about what cane sugar actually does to you and how it affects your mind, your body, all of these things. So that is just something that I think we should spend more time learning about. I noticed that my skin is definitely better than what it was clear, but you can still see I have dark spots and things like that I want to clear up. My hair has definitely grown a lot more since me shaving it all off, and I have a couple of videos or photos, that I can put in of how it was growing since then, and even just my body in general. I noticed that toner in more areas, healthier, more in shape, more, feeling myself a little more. Starting to just be, like I said, more confident and more secure in who I am and who I chose to be in this existence. It's like I believe that we choose our experiences before we get here. We choose the bodies that we are walking in before we get here. And part of my experience was trying to learn how to accept myself fully. I went through a lot too. Went through a lot of depression, ups and downs, things like that to get to this point. And I think there is still more that I can do and grow and learn from. That will probably make me even happier than I am now. But I definitely know that I'm much happier now than I was back then. And I'm so, so grateful for the steps that myself took to get me here. I think about that every day. You have to be grateful for the steps that you took to get to a better place. At the time, it may not have seemed like the best decision. You may have been questioning it whether you wanted to or not, but I'm really grateful for all the experiences that I had to get me up to this point, because I wouldn't be who I am now or be capable of even achieving some of the things that I'm trying to achieve if I didn't have the courage of myself, didn't have the courage that she had to make the decisions that we made to get us here. So I'm not going to keep you all waiting. So my current weight now, for those that are curious, is 160 pounds. I've been fluxing between 159 and 165 on my really heavy days when I'm just not consistent with anything and I'm really eating everything I shouldn't be eating. I go up to a whopping 170, but we'll put in a video or something of the scale in here somewhere. But that's usually my flux range right now until I'm back onto my consistent working out and my consistent routine, which you guys will probably see me doing somehow or another in this channel. But like I said, the other things that are new that are happening thanks to, I say thanks to walking the plant-based lifestyle, walking this journey, is that I've learned to garden and I'm really interested. Now I'm growing my own food. I wrote the book that will probably be coming out very soon, sometime after a couple of videos after this. It's still in work, still in editing, but I was able to write a book that I'm super excited about. I had new explorations into food, herbs, the planet, self-healing, mentally, emotionally, all of those things. Really into a lot of that lately, and very grateful for it. If you all know of Dr. Sadie, he's somebody I also learned about when walking this journey and learning alkaline diet versus having acidic foods and how that helps with your gut health, and even for women healing your fertility and nutrients. Just there's a whole world within the plant-based world that's just waiting to be discovered. And I think anyone that's willing to or wanting to take the lead or take the jump should take this as a sign to just go ahead, do it, just try it. And if it's not for you, at least you gain the experience and the knowledge on how to be healthy for you. So the truth is, Western food is not healthy. And I've gone further to prove this in the book. There's a lot of information about it. You can research it. It's just noted that there is Western food today. It's just not healthy. It's not good for us, especially if you're not from ethnically a Western background. Some of the foods and things that we eat here in the States, they're just unhealthy, essentially. So they're made to keep us in. You discover this when you're on a plant-based diet and stuff, how some of these companies and food companies and pharmaceutical companies, all of them kind of work in tandem together. And I'm not going to go into this too much because that'll be a whole other video, but they sometimes work in tandem together more often than we think. And it's kind of a ploy to get us to continue to eat unhealthy and to continue to pick up things we shouldn't be picking up in the grocery store. And they're going to continue to keep making these things cheap and easy to get, because health is wealth, you guys. They say that all the time. It's kind of corny sometimes, but it's true. The healthier you feel, the wealthier you feel, because you realize there's just so much more that you're capable of, so much more that you can experience, so much more that you can do, so much more you can grow. There's still so much more when you're healthy versus when you're unhealthy, because then they keep you on a cycle. They keep you going into the doctors. They keep you on these medications. They keep you on just repeating cycles in this little spiral. And it's just not good for us. And if really you guys think about it, we eat foods with ingredients in them that we've never seen before, that you can't grow outside. Stuff that comes from factories and from labs and things like that. What are we doing? We should think about that. That's it. I think that is a chance for everybody to take back their power, start your own journey, and see where it takes you. And that's it. So thank you again. You all have my gratitude. Thanks so much. Love you.